Hey, hey, how's everybody doing on this Wednesday? Once again, thank you so much to SKM Keith for the intro. I love it. Hey, Keith. Hey, David. How you guys doing? Hope everybody's doing good on this Wednesday. It's been a quiet day, other than a couple of people in the house sick. Hey, Jewish, how are you? Shalom. Another day, David. Absolutely. Sup, Keith? Thank you for the intro. I love it, brother. We got one with the and then the little one, they're thinking it says asthma, but they're not sure. And they put him on breathing treatments as well as a steroid. All right, Keith. Y'all know how we roll. We'll give it a few minutes and just chit chat, see if others come in. No, it's the 30-year-old in the house. It's Heather's nephew. So he's out of work for a couple of days. So far, he's able to be up, moving around. He hasn't been running a fever, but we're still taking, precautions with Lysol and bleach and whatnot. So, you know how that goes. And it's hot as the dickens. I hate when it's hot. All right, take your time, Keith. We'll be here. I was watching couple up in Alaska that I like to watch. Summers in Alaska, and The husband is in one of the smaller cities up there, and the gas up there is $8 and $9, guys. I mean, it's pretty well out in the boonies, but and they have to barge in their gas and whatnot. But still, that's just. I was wondering the same thing, David. I hope she's okay. I've pretty much been out of touch with YouTube since Friday, except for I did watch that video earlier today. It's been a hectic weekend and start to the week. My oldest daughter left Georgia Saturday and has moved to New York. So, you know, this mama's scared out of her mind. My oldest baby being 14 hours away. But I have talked to her just about every day, so. And so far, she seems to be happy up there, which is all, you know, a mother can ask for. Oh, wow, David. I was picking at her. I said, you moved from a red state to a blue state. What are you thinking? But at least up there, maybe she'll be able to do what she needs to do. And it's always been her dream to live in New York. Hey, Heroic, how you doing, hon? Good to see you. She's about 45 minutes outside of New York City itself, so at least she's not in the city. Glad to hear, Heroic. I did not, David. Yeah. I'll have to check that out, Heroic. Yeah. I'm not too thrilled about it, you know, being that is a high target area. So, you know, DC, of course, is number one, New York's number two, and the nuclear submarine base about less than 100 miles from me is number three. So, and last week they announced that they found a case of polio in New York State. That's true, David. That's very true. But you know, I was talking to Heather about it the other day. And a lot of the things that we were jabbed for as kids seems to be making a comeback. You have polio, um, cholera. Now you have the animal pox, which is a variant of the pox. Kind of makes you wonder, don't it? I mean, like I said, we have vaccines for most of these things. But now they're making a comeback. We know that the centers for, you know, different ailments, we'll call it that, centers for ailments, because technically we're not supposed to mention that 3-letter word, has vials of these things. We know back the beginning of this year, maybe it was the end of last year, that there were vials found of the pox around Philadelphia. Hey, how are you, hon? And there was only 2 labs that had access to the vials. One being the Centers for Ailments in Atlanta, and the other being the same organization in Russia. That was the only 2 places that was supposed to have vials of such. Yeah, David, we were all given shots just about every year. You know, whether it was the main one or it was a secondary. You know, and smaller kids even now have to get these. The only exemption is religious. And in the last, I'd say 5 years, maybe even 10, you know, there's been a lot of kickback on being forced to jab your kids. And I specifically remember I was very, very little. I just started kindergarten. And, you know, of course, we had to have the jab for the chicken pox before we were allowed to start school. Well, that jab did not work because not even halfway through the start of my kindergarten year, I was out with the chicken pox. Very well could be, David. Very well could be. I mean, these jabs are supposed to be approved, but if certain organizations are on board, what's to keep them from putting things in there that they're not supposed to? I'll always wonder what that black man knew on somebody at the who was found floating face down. Absolutely, Hope. Absolutely. Well, David, they had to hold me down. I ain't even gonna lie. I am 43 years old and I am absolutely terrified of needles. I mean, I've got better with it, but hey, Tiger, how are you, hon? Good to see you. Um, we know even the angry, he was scared and he had telephoned somebody. I believe it, Hope. We know these people are not above killing people for their their cause. I was trying to figure out how to put that. I've been all right, Tiger. Just kind of upset because my oldest daughter moved off to New York. But she's an adult, so. But she seems to be happier, at least so far. Excuse me. But we know from different sources that live in that's where her husband is originally from and where his family is. They're about 45 minutes outside of NYC. But we know from other content creators that live in the state of New York or in the city itself up there that it has been rumored that one of them dirty things is floating around. To my knowledge, it hasn't been verified. But guys, one of them dirty things could be the cowpox, could be the measles. You know, it's a bio thing. Just think about it. And that doesn't necessarily just have to be one. It could be a mixture of all of them. So far, Hoot, she's liking it. I did video call with her and her husband today. So far, she's getting along with the in-laws. She there's a lot of things up there she has access to that we do not have access to down here. Oh no, Tiger, you sick again, hon? And with that dirty thing up there, we as the public don't know exactly how far that could reach. Same thing. Oh, I hear you. We got one in the house that's got it now, Tiger. And we all know that I think it's JFK up there. Anyway, the airport's up there because there's several. They get thousands, if not millions, of people going through those airports every day. What if they let that dirty thing off and people in transit was able to spread it?
Uh-huh. Later. I'm tired of everybody telling me what to do and when to do it.
I mean, it's just food for thought.
Hey, I got some food for thought. You want to hear it?
What's that?
Seriously. Everybody talks about where you're going to when you die. Nobody ever talks about where you were before you were born.
It's true.
I had a bunch of good shit about 10 minutes ago, but it went away.
What are y'all's thoughts on the subject? The 4-month-old. He's not feeling too good.
Who don't feel good?
Little man.
He's just a boy.
Hmm.
I mean, he ain't hurt or nothing.
Right. That's bright. But we just all wonder. When we sit back and we think about the what ifs, the what could be's, the way things used to be. I agree, Hoot. Neither do I. I completely agree. And now you've got the drunk old witch.
Hey, don't talk about me that way.
I wasn't talking about you. You know, number 3, that she made a promise to go overseas. And the dragons warned that that wouldn't be advisable. Nancy. The other one's number 2. The president's 1, VP's 2, and the Speaker of the House is number 3. That's the line of succession. Because, you know, technically we're not supposed to say those names. She really is, Hope. You know, we really can't afford to go to Walter Alpha Romeo. Whether it be with Bear or the dragon. Hope, from my understanding, she's supposed to. Congress is, some of them was recommending that she shouldn't with the threat from the dragon, but others are saying she should. So, and I mean, I get the whole we shouldn't allow other countries to dictate where our people go, but we still need to think for the best interest of our country. Hello, Lowrider Man. How are you? I believe this is first time seeing you. Welcome. Hey, Heathen. How are you? And Heathen, I am in the process of taking those pictures to email to you. I went squirrel, guys. You gotta love them squirrel moments. Absolutely, Heathen. Not a problem. So, we've talked about the big boom threat. Oh, we was talking about Pelosi and Dragon. I did not, Tiger. I did not receive them. You might have to email me because my phone's acting stupid without time on it. But do y'all honestly think if number 3 goes overseas to that country that we promised to support, do y'all really think the dragon will do something? Yeah, David. Do y'all think that they will follow through on their threats? Or will it be an all-out Walter Alpha Romeo? Oh, they absolutely are heathen. Absolutely. Actually, bear is in Venezuela and dragon is in Canada. So they've got us surrounded. I'm not exactly sure on the threats. I know that they thought that, or they said that they would consider it basically an act of Walter Alpha Romeo. Yeah, he supposedly it was a training mission for a different terrain, but look at how long they've been in there. From my understanding, the PM in Canada has some sort of agreement with the dragon. So, and to me, with bear being in South America, it's basically another crisis like happened under JFK. I mean, I am not a clairvoyant. I have not been touched by God for prophecy. But like I said, I try to sit down and think about what could happen. So my mom was watching Frosty the Snowman. Do you know they took the letters from Xmas off the frozen cake boxes in the train? It used to say Xmas, just saying. It's all right, Keith. Enjoy your time with her. David, I don't doubt it because our government is trying to shut down Christmas. They have been for years. Why the heck would it be considered Walter Alpha Romeo for visiting? I still say we should sue that country for the coup. Absolutely, Hoot. I agree. And as far as, considered for that, honestly have no idea. I mean, Z, or however you say that name, the leader of the dragon, to me, seems unhinged, for lack of a better way of putting it. I mean, he's not the only world leader that seems that way to me, but right, yeah, right, Hope, absolutely. But they're not the only country we're in debt with. It's our biggest debt, but I'm still trying to figure out how people do not realize that the has been tampered with. I mean, we all know, the common cold, the flu, is variants of that particular thing. But to my notion, for it to blow up like it has, it's been tampered with. I heard something going to happen around August 15th. I do remember hearing something about August 15th, but I can't remember what it was. But a couple of people that I consider very close friends last year, Lord Hoot Tiger Keith, has it really been almost a year since 8/23? And I know y'all know who I'm talking about when I say 8/23. But last year we were talking about 8/23. And something did happen. Z is hauling his people to camps if they have the coup. I believe it. I believe it. And I was there that night that 8/23 was come into existence. You know, 8/23 for life. So we definitely have to keep our heads on a swivel. I mean, we have to take a lot of this stuff with a grain of salt. A lot of people think that if Walter Alpha Romeo pops off, that it will not affect us here on the mainland. But guys, with Bear in Venezuela and Dragon up north in Canada, how can we continue to think that? I mean, I'm just saying. We have the radar planes. I can't think of the correct name of them right now. Sub-hunter planes, that's what you call them. Flying daily. New York Prepper does a lot of videos about that. He does updates 2-3 times a week on it. There's been missiles in Cuba pointed at Florida for years. Absolutely, Hoot. Absolutely. a fellow YouTuber did a video about how YouTube wants to keep the money from its content creator. I believe it, heathen. Absolutely. Hey, I thought about something when you have to wonder who, in quotation, owns everything. The answer is in the question. Absolutely, David. And we all know who that organization is a part of. Just saying. I mean, if you go to digging, you find out a lot of information. You know, I mean, you have to dig and dig deep. But some of the answers can reach out and smack you in the face. You know, we talk about our rights slowly being taken away from us. But what are we going to do to prevent that? Can we prevent that? That organization has been given too much power. Absolutely, Hoot. Absolutely. I completely agree on that. You know, I remember back when they were a part of Michael Jackson and, you know, a whole lot of musical celebrities done a fundraiser thing for Africa. I can't remember the name of the fundraiser, but they done the song We Are the World. You know, sold millions and millions of copies of that song. You know, that back when that organization used to be on the good side. The has the right to shut down the whole country. Yeah, heathen, they do. You know, they also have the right to shut down the world for lack of way of better putting it. That word vomit there. Yeah, heathen, we are the world. Absolutely. And you know, years later they done another one for Haiti. If I'm not mistaken, that was after MJ's death. Yeah, absolutely, David. I mean, you know, we've been saying it for years that corporate companies have way more power than they should. Corporate America is evil. Especially nosy old Walmart, right? But you know, Walmart didn't start out to be that way. Walmart actually started out, for the good of the people. But now, it's being reported that Walmarts are a basis for FEMA. Sam was a good guy, absolutely. Animal pox is only affecting one group of people. Yeah, that's what I heard, Heathen. From my understanding, is they basing it off of like the AIDS epidemic. Back when Sam Walton was still alive, Walmart was a good company. His kids and grandkids have destroyed it. Absolutely, Tiger. David, think about the AIDS epidemic and how it spread. And you'll come up with the group. And I say that because I don't want to offend anyone. The group of people at most affected. Yeah. Yeah, it don't make no sense to me either, David. Haiti and Puerto Rico have dang warehouses stocked to the ceiling of food and supplies that the U.S. has sent them after disasters. Their crooked government and the military won't let them have it. No sympathy. Absolutely, Hoot, I agree. My son-in-law is part Puerto Rican, or half Puerto Rican, I should say. Have you noticed that Walmart and Lowe's and Home Depot are always close together and close to interstates, airports, and riverways? I have, Heathen. Absolutely. See, my little town, we don't have Lowe's and Home Depot. We only have Walmart. Because we have smaller mom and pop places that, sell the same stuff that Lowe's and Home Depot has. So our city and county officials will not allow Lowe's and Home Depot into the city. Town, not city. They won't even allow us to have a KFC. Or Domino's. I believe it, David. Absolutely. But I mean, think about it. If SHTF happens, what are some of the first stores that's going to be looted? Besides electronics and cell phones and stuff like that. Where are you going to go for your food and you're building materials, gardening materials, stuff like that. Yeah, David. But you know, they're not the only company that does that. I'm not saying I agree with it, but and you know, if you sit back and think about it, if you are in a marauding mindset, instead of hitting these stores, wouldn't it be more valuable to hit the warehouses? Because the stores only have up to 72 hours worth of food on the shelves. That's the best way to be, David. I worked at my local Walmart distribution center and had to run at 96% during my shift. I believe it, KP. I mean, I have family and friends that work at the closest Walmart DC to me, which is like one town over. So, you know, pretty much know what's in there. And one of my childhood best friends works at the local Walmart. So, do y'all know what this week's challenge is going to be? I'm going to start giving y'all challenges. Instead of doing scenarios, we'll do challenges. I still haven't got mine, David. Oh, wow, Heathen. That's awesome. This week's challenge is going to be sit down, think about what you would do if CW2 pops off and a Red Dawn situation happens. For those that don't know what Red Dawn is, I strongly recommend watching the movie. Awesome movie. It gives you a lot of food for thought. You sit down and think, got it. Right, Hoot? I mean, what does our good friend Backwoods always say? Your number one prep is your mindset. So sit down and think about what you would do. Yeah, David. The original is better than the remake. I'll have to watch the original Heathen. I did catch the remake. The original, not the remake. Didn't the original have Patrick Swayze in it? I think I remember hearing somebody say that. And anybody that knows me knows that is one of my favorite people. I can definitely sit down, possibly think, right? Who said that he agrees, Patrick Swayze. That man was so pretty. I mean, even, he was like Sam Elliott. The older he get, the better looking he was. Took place in Colorado. The Chronicles of Narnia, basically about it, but they used an 01 to predict it. Huh? I'm confused, David. I mean, I've watched the Chronicles of Narnia, but it's been a minute. But I want the conflict. Well, the Chronicles of Narnia was, right? The Chronicles of Narnia was, I mean, you could take it that way, David, but that wouldn't be the first one that I would consider. Check out the Terminal List on Netflix. I'll have to check it out, Heathen. But the challenge for this week is to sit down and think about that. In my opinion, it would be the worst case scenario, other than, big booms. And we will discuss it Friday. So, y'all know me, I'm kind of a little outspoken when it comes to stuff like this. So, yeah, so did I hope. It was a good series of movies. Hey, Miss Denise, how are you? So, like I said, just sit down and think about that. Make plans. Notebook, laptop, even your phone. CW Part 2, Hoop. What if CW Part 2 was to pop off and you have Bear and Dragon, surrounding us, and we have a Red Dawn situation? I'm glad to hear, Miss Denise. Absolutely. But I am going to leave you guys with my latest intro from Keith, even though we're going out with it. Once again, Keith, I thank you very much for it. I love you guys. Keep your heads on a swivel. Stay prayed up.